First thing I did, it is October 17th, and I watched this video.
For an 8-legged walk. It may look complex, but it's actually very simple.
And I'm really glad I did, because it confirmed the way I was going to do it. I wasn't going to complete it without actually looking it up, because I wanted to make sure there wasn't some weird sequence. It's really just the front legs walking. And then the next one's opposingly walking. And then the pattern continues.
The next 2 legs counteract.
So the first set of legs will look like the third set, and the second set will look like the fourth, as viewing from the front. You could view it from the back and do the same sequence. My question is, do I need to make the legs extend a little? Like that, and straighten out? I think I should, because it'll look the best that way. But that'd be a lot harder than just making the legs rigid and moving. Now the inner ones barely articulate, the front ones do, because they're at different angles. So they reach out and pull more. The side one just goes side, and the back ones kind of give off farther, see? So I think I'm going to try to do that. So maybe when they lift up, they'll stretch out a little bit. We'll see. I might have to settle for rigid, which would still be pretty cool as long as they move. So, okay, so here's what I was thinking originally. Here's a 3/4 view of the bed. Legs sticking out of it. 8 of them, obviously. So I wanted to have, this is supposed to be bigger, I guess. So, if you're looking straight head on through here, I was going to have a camshaft made out of discs of MDF or plywood or something, and I'm going to cut a certain shape so when they spin around they're bigger. If you're not familiar with the cam, it's just basically an erratic circle, or an eccentric circle, I should say, that will tilt and activate, and then it'll be on the base circle. Activate. So this is supposed to be the base circle, and that's the lobe. It's not drawn to scale, obviously, but so if this turns, it's going to roll. This skateboard wheel is going to roll on that and push down. And since there's a shaft here, there's 2 rails that these legs pivot on. So if this pushes down, then this pushes the leg up. And that's well and good. I actually think that will work on its own. It's hard to start with a messy shop. It's almost clean. I got the floor pretty good. But I want to clean off this miter station. Maybe move these books elsewhere. Make sure my sander is cleaned off. And mainly this table's a wreck. So I am going to clean this table off. It'll probably take me, knowing me, it'll probably take me an hour. Let's see. I think if I eat this banana, I can bring it down to 45 minutes instead of an hour to clean this place up. Okay, I feel almost ready. Ready to lose all 3 of these. Got that cleaned off. Drill press area is kind of ready. Sander's ready. Table's ready. First thing I'm going to do is true up these cuts. I'll probably cut that whole nastiness off. It's the beauty about being this early in the project is the actual length doesn't matter yet. The width doesn't matter. Well, the width matters to a point. It has to bolt this on. This one has kind of a sweet smell. Can you smell that? Alright, time to cut off the nasty edges. I kind of bound up a little. Now it smells like burnt sweetness. Another perk about using this leftover lumber that I had in the lean-to is this has a bunch of staples. So I'm going to pull these staples out. It's hazy, but I remember a screw called a Phillips screw from somewhere in my childhood, and it was nothing but frustration. I'll pay whatever they ask. I only get construction screws with the hex head, you know, Torx bit, aka. It's worth whatever they're asking. Always try to keep a separate drill for pre-drilling and a separate one for driving. It accepts the bit directly in it. There is no chuck. Quick and convenient. I have all 4 corners screwed in. I think it's time for a center brace. So obviously I had to chop the first cut to make it a 45, but after that, you cut that near, then you turn it. And I'm just going to this line. And then you cut again. So now your 45s are opposing. So if you flip it every time, you can just make one cut and then get two 45s out of it. Basic shape is formed. Sweet. I don't know if these are going to be for the wheel, the axles, to actually convey this thing down the street, or if it's going to be this way for the shaft. Either way, I'm psyched about it. I got to figure out how I'm going to get the camshaft to turn by the wheel. So the camshaft will be going long ways, and the wheel would be going this way. I don't know if that makes sense, but they'll be 90 degrees off. So I plan on getting any kind of wheel, hopefully bigger than this, but a wheel that has a belt pulley on the side. And my idea was to just let the belt do the 90 degree. I've ever seen a belt, you know, it's going this way, and then the belt just twists and goes to a pulley going this way. That's the idea. And then maybe separately, I will motorize it. I'm still not sure if I'm going to pedal this thing, if I'm going to be in the thing, if I'm going to be pushing. I think I prefer to make it motorized. It kind of just depends on time restraints. So I got to get a tire with a pulley. I could do a chain, but I'm trying to avoid chains. I'm going to try to do just pulleys. They're a little more lenient and forgiving. And I don't have a lot of spare wheels here that have... I need a mini bike wheel, I think. Or maybe even a bike tire, but then I'll have to use a chain. I think I need to go out to the shop and start looking for anything I can adapt a pulley to. I do have a lot of pulleys. And that's not all of them. I think in the metals room here I have a few more. Yeah. Especially these ones will be helpful. Just got these at a flea market. $1 a piece, can't lose. Okay, ideally, I think I'm gonna write this one down. Ideally, it'll be pedal powered with electric assist. That way, I might be able to cruise through. But if the battery dies, or the motor breaks, or whatever, or the unknown variable, I can pedal through. Yeah, let's aim for that. Okay, I'm not saying that I won't buy anything brand new. I'm really hoping to find most of it here at the shop, or here at the basement or the shop. So, this might be my camshaft. It's a piece of galvanized plumbing pipe. But my bearings are super sloppy on it, which is okay. This is going to be the camshaft. You actually probably be okay like that, but I think I'm going to try cutting this tube in this spot and then slitting it and using it as a sleeve to take up that space and see if that works. Just got this saw from the flea market, you guessed it. That ain't bad, that's acceptable. I might do that. So I'm getting to the point where I start to need to know how big these legs are gonna be. So I got this poor dead guy from the basement, and I'm gonna use his legs for scale. So now I got a breakdown of the size of legs in inches and the breakdown converted to millimeters because that'll be easier to work with. I'm going to multiply this by the scale, which I'm not sure yet is going to be. I'm going off of a wolf spider. Doing that, I think the legs would actually be kind of enormous. So I might scale them down a little bit. But it could be worse. I could go as one of these guys. then the legs will probably take up the whole street of Defiance as I go down there. So I'm gonna kind of eyeball, I'm gonna use a little bit of discretion to not make the legs absolutely huge. So picturing them up and out. If I go by the ratio of the wolf spider, that first segment of the leg that goes up, not including this little bit I'll probably have sideways here, is like the same width as the body roughly. I think even making it that big is a little excessive. So, but I'm gonna cut one that big. I'm gonna use casket handles as a mock-up. I'm not really sure what I'm making the legs out of yet. If they're wood, PVC pipe, if I'm gonna cut them with foam, coat them with fabric. I kind of want little hairs coming out, so we're gonna have to fleck it with something. But I'm just gonna cut a couple of test pieces and see how it goes from there. Okay, so measuring across this, it's over 52 inches. I'm gonna round it down to 48 to make it 4 feet. So if 6.4 millimeters is to equal 48 inches, I divided that on my calculator, same one I used in high school, and I got 7.5. So I'm going to multiply all 4 of these by 7.5. So example, 8.9 times 7.5 equals 66 3/4 inches. 9.2 times 7.5 is 69 inches. Nice. And then 3.6 times, oops, yeah, times 7.5 is 27. So 27 inches for that little bottom leg. So, and from what I did, I kind of rounded these off too, but these end up being about the same. I think for simplicity's sake, I'm going to make all the legs the same. So here's my sizes. I'm going to cut some to that length with no allowance before and after. And I think I'm going to drill through the casket handles and make them articulate for now. So I also denoted the ones that are near the body as A and alphabetically progressive otherwise. So A, B, C, and D is a tip. That way I don't get them all confused. So one good thing about working with casket handles is almost everybody has a stockpile of them that they don't know what to do with. And I'm no exception. So I'm going to cut all these up. Okay, so as I was unfolding that dead spider, I realized there's this extra segment, which I kind of wondered. Now, I might have already shown you, but I didn't cover it. So there's that one, that one, that one, and that one. So 4 segments on each leg. And I had to do a little bit of research to see angles. Well, I didn't really check the angles, but I got to approximate here. And hopefully I don't botch these, but coxa, trochanter, femur, tibia, metatarsus, and tarsus. The tarsus was the main thing I didn't account for. I knew it was going to be big, but putting it all together, this is one leg. There'd be the coxa there, going up to the trochanter here. And then the tibia. Okay, it's all huge. Now it would look great, but it would take up more than one lane, which is, it's going to take a little more up than one anyway. Downtown Defiance, I think, is 4 lanes, right? 2 on each side. But anyway, it's too big. I'm trying to think if I want to scale that literally down half, or if I want to go 2/3 of that. Alright, so I just got this part temporarily clamped. And then I put bolts on all the joints, and actually put nuts on them and spacers when necessary. So I can tighten them up so they're pretty tight, so I can just pose it. Now this one's not posed yet, but you can see how it's coming together. Let me try to pose it a little more accurately. Alright, so this is closer to the pose it would be in. But I'm still thinking it's a bit big. Well, the other scale was much grander, but this is what I'm going to go with. This is the size I'm going to go with. It's 2/3 of 2/3 of the original projection. And it's not going to be this funky angle, because see, it's really high. It's going to be about a foot or 2 lower. So it'll give it different angles. I think it'll work fine. I just had a second way pop in my head that I might be able to articulate these legs. Instead of what I talked about earlier with a camshaft and these, and this on a bracket that goes like this, well, it'd be like this. And then the cam comes around and hits it, and then there's a pivot point and it lifts it. That can only get you one axis of movement. I plan on getting the other axis by putting hinges out here that are tilted, so when it lifts up, it swings over. And I was worried about the accuracy of that swing. Well, what if I had a 2-axis joint here, so it won't let this twist, but it will let it swing and go up and down. And then what if I had, I think this would work. So it would pull it up, it would land on the ground, and then the vehicle would go forward, bringing this back until a point where this would lift it up again and go. Question now is, I actually kind of really like this model, but so yeah, it goes and drops it and drops it. Now the only problem with this model, obviously I don't have 8 of these. I would use wooden discs, but what I don't like about it is the tangle aspect possibly. And do I really need 8 of them? Is there a way to at least connect 2 legs to one? I'm not sure yet, but I do have an idea. Can I have one with a chain? Can I have a roller and a roller and have this go like this? And that would still pull and swing if the angle's right. Man, if that would work. If I can put 4, oh my goodness. I'm not sure if I can do it. Yeah, I'm brainstorming too much. I feel like it might be possible to put 4 on one wheel. And that'd be beautiful if so. Because then there'd be just one shaft with 2 wheels and a bunch of cables. Okay, let me turn this off while I think. Okay, it did work. So hooking this to this pulley transferred this operation back farther. And I don't have enough hands right now, but I put this up and cranked it. And it did pull this leg up and over. So this means, quite possibly, that I could run 4. Now what I'd have to do, for one, this would be inversed. The axle would be on the inside. Think of a spool. So think of a shaft with 2 discs, one on either end. And on this disc, on opposing sides, it'd be like this with 2 handles. So it'd be one there and one there. One of them would be for the first and the third leg. The other one would be for the second and the fourth leg, each side. Now each side would further be off 180 degrees. So on that side, it'd be the first pin that corresponds with this one would be the second and the fourth, and the other one would be the first and the third. But then when you turn the whole shaft, if 2 were on here, and then 2 were farther out on there, and if I could find a way to safely separate them with aluminum flashing or discs, something to make sure that the cables don't bind together, because there's probably going to be slack cables and then them getting tight. Anytime you have a slack cable, it can go left and right. So if I can figure that part out, it could be in tubes maybe. Maybe I could run the cables through tubes. Side quest. I'm going to be welding with some toxic fumes in here. I used to have a fan up in the window, but I just kind of put it up here with this old knob and tube wiring, and it only kind of worked. So old knob and tube wiring is what hung this fan before. So I'm trying to make it better. So let's make it better. I got some chain links. I separated into 2 equal length chains. And I got a broken handle, so I'm gonna either put a hook around here or something. Good old zip ties. So I got it, so it sits on the shelf, or the ledge, and it's tied to one, so I should, in essence, be able to spin it and have it blow out some days, because some days it's not windy and I want to go out that way. But I gotta cut 8 of these tubes for the hinges. Well, I got one double acting hinge welded up. I got the other 7 larger sleeves, and I need to do 7 of the smaller ones. I got them rough cut, but the edges literally cut rough. So I'm gonna bench grind them all, wire brush them all, and I'll put them in a pile. All right, here are all the sleeves. And I notched them so they'll lock in a little bit while I weld them. Now I gotta weld them. All right, they're all welded up.